All right. We talked about the properties of a parallelogram yesterday. Remember, it's a quadrilateral with parallel sides. Opposite sides are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent. Consecutive angles are supplementary, and they bisect each other. Y'all, all of these properties right here, write that down, also apply to a rhombus, because a rhombus is also a parallelogram. What is special about a rhombus? What makes it a special parallelogram? A rhombus is a parallelogram with what? What? What makes a rhombus special? No, that's a parallelogram. What makes this picture special? What's special about a rhombus? What did every picture have when y'all walked around? Yep. 4 sides that are the same. Put a tick mark on every single side. A rhombus is a parallelogram with all sides congruent. All my sides are congruent in a rhombus. And because it's a so we have to do all of these, plus we have some new properties for a rhombus. So what happens when I draw the diagonals of a rhombus? The diagonals are what? What happens in the middle of the diagonals? They're 90. And what we do is remember this, what does this symbol mean? Anybody remember what that symbol means? Perpendicular. What does perpendicular mean? If you don't remember, just write 90 degrees next to it. Write this down. Are you with me? You writing down? Does my voice soothe you to sleep? What? All right. The diagonals are perpendicular, meaning when they cross, they give me a 90-degree angle. The other thing that the diagonals do is the diagonals bisect the angles. Well, what does bisect mean? Cut in half. If you don't remember, you can write that down. Cut in half. So I'm just making up numbers for this picture. But if this right here was 100. Let's say that angle right here is 100 degrees. What else do I know? The other side is also 100 degrees. You're right. Hold on. Before I move on to that, I'm going to another question. Because the diagonals bisect the angles, what do I know about each of these angles right here? 50, and they cut in half, and 50. And if those are, I know it's really small. If those are 50 and 50, what's this angle here and here? 50 and 50. This is not all rhombuses. I'm just using this as an example. All right, well, now that I know that, can I find my top ones? Yeah, what do I know about these two angles right here? They equal 180. So if this is 100, what's the top angle going to be? 80. And what's the bottom angle going to be? 80. And so what's each little angle going to be? 40 and 40. I know it's very skinny, not a big picture to write. Last but not least, what do we know about all 4 sides? They're congruent. And then I want you to add one more real quick. This created, what did I say at the very end? This creates 4 what? 4 what kind of triangles? No, they're not isosceles. That's a rectangle. 4 congruent right triangles. Please write this down. 4 congruent right triangles. Now, also remember that a square is also a rhombus. So all of these properties apply to a square. Therefore, a square is a rhombus with all angles congruent. I just want to remind you, a rhombus splits the angle in half, 50-50, 40-40. Does a rectangle? No. If this were 40, what would this have to be? They can't, 40 and 40, why can they not be 40 and 40? Because the angle has to add up to 90. So if this is 40, what does this have to be? 50. Or if this was 20, what would this have to be? 70. So these two together, they're not the same. They have to add up to 90. So that's, for those of you that are still working on yesterday's Schoology assignment, that's what that means. All right? So we have this all filled out. I want you to keep it out. Don't put it away. We are now going to do a flip book that I'm going to hand out to you. Do I have enough? Where are they? Where my extras went. Yes. Oh, thank you. Sorry, I got a lot on my desk. Let me clean it up real quick. All right. Okay, what we are going to do now is we are going to go over some practice problems. Before we do that, I just want to remind you, what is a quadrilateral with opposite sides parallel? Parallelogram. Just fold it in half. Like, look, y'all's looks like this. Boys, y'all's looks like this. This way, Isaiah. Just fold it like this so that you see those. No, yes. All right. What about an equal angular parallelogram where all the angles are equal? A rectangle. Can y'all please draw these 90-degree equal angles? And what we did today is an equilateral parallelogram where all the sides are equal. Rhombus. Do y'all know what multiple, you have more than one rhombus? Do y'all know how to say that? It's not rhombuses. Rhombi. Last but not least, a regular parallelogram, meaning it's both equal angular and equilateral. That is a square. Not a cube, not 3D. So a square is all three of these things. A rectangle is a parallelogram, a rhombus is a parallelogram, and all four of these are quadrilaterals. They all have four sides. So I'm going to skip rectangle and square, and I am going to go to the rhombus one. We are not going to do everything on this page, only some of it. If you can fold it back, please. Before I answer any questions, can I add any markings to this picture? Because, I know it's a rhombus. What can I add to this picture? What? Tick marks on all the sides. And what? Where would I add the 90 degrees? In the middle. Do y'all agree with what we just did? Okay. That's what I would have done too. Boys, I'm talking. Shh. So now I want you to name all the sides congruent to CA. What is congruent to CA? AR or RA. What was the another one? CD, I heard somebody say. And what's the last one? DR. All the sides that we did tick marks on, and again, those letters could go different orders. Okay? Real quick, I'm going to skip 2. We're going to come back to that. Number 3. If CD was 12.5 feet, so I'm going to put 12.5 feet right there. How do I find the perimeter of CARD? So I could either add 12.5 plus 12.5 plus 12.5 plus 12.5, or I can do 12.5 times 4, which is what? 50 feet. Does this make sense? Jocelyn, write this down. Yuri, write this down. They're all the same, so I just multiplied by 4. Next, AD. Do y'all see AD right here? CR. Are they the same? AD and CR. Look at them. CR and AD. Let's look back at the pictures that we did on our own. Did we get the same numbers here and here? Did we get this? Oh, they only did one. Did we get the same numbers here and here? Well, that was a square. Hold on. Don't look at that one. The same numbers here and here. All right. No. So, is AD congruent to CR? No. Diagonals are different lengths. All right, now I'm going to skip back up to number 2. Number 2 says angle 4 is 33 degrees. If angle 4 equals 33 degrees, what else is 33 degrees? Angle 3, right next to it. What'd y'all say?
7.
Angle 7 and 8. Why are angles 7 and 8 also? Because it's opposite. So they are all 33 degrees. 3, 4, 8, and 7 are all the same. What else do we know? What other angles do we know? 1, 1 and 2. What about 1 and 2? How do we find angle? Do you agree angle 1, angle 2, and angle 5 and 6 will be the same?
Yeah.
But how do we figure out what they equal? Do y'all agree this one plus this equals 180? Well, what's this whole thing right here? 66. Do y'all agree it's 66 because 33 plus 33? Angle 4 and 3 are 33 and 33. So if this is 66, what is 180 minus 66? 14? 114. This is 114. How do I find these angles? What? The whole thing's 114. If the whole thing is 114, how do I find 5 and 6? Divide it by 2. What is 114 divided by 2? 57. So they are 57 degrees. I want to show you something else you could do. Look up, please. Do y'all agree 44 is 33 degrees? Do you also agree, hold on, let me find my highlighter. Where did it go? Here it is. Do y'all also agree I have a triangle right here? What else could you have done to find angle 5? What's that?
90.
What's this? So could you have done 90 plus 33 and then done what? Subtract it from 180. Do you get the same answer either way? Yeah, so it's your decision. Do you want to do it like this or like this? You'll get the same answer. Okay. Unfortunately, I mean, I guess we could use this again. I don't want to confuse you though. Should we draw another picture or use the same picture? Use the same one? Y'all are okay if I use the same picture? Even though it's different numbers? Okay. This one says CAR is 126. Look up, please. C to A to R is 126. So I'm going to do this one in purple. This right here is 126 degrees. How do I find angle 3? Angle 3 is way down here. What do you think I'm going to do to find angle 3? What? Say that louder. 126 divided by 2. Why? Because it's half. Hey guys, if this is 126, what's this one down here? 126. And then how do I find that side? It's half of it. So what is 126 divided by 2? For a rhombus, if you have the whole angle, you are just always going to divide by 2. So for those of you that are like, I don't know what she's doing. 3 and 4. If this whole thing is 126 degrees, we just split it in half. We divided by 2. What kind of triangle is CSD? CSD? What kind of triangle is that? Louder? No, right here. C to S to D, a right triangle. It's just a right triangle, and we don't need to answer the. Well, it's a scalene, but I'm not worried about that. We're gonna skip number 7. Number 8. I'm gonna draw this again because it's too confusing. There's too much on there. You can all draw that. It doesn't have to be perfect. If angle 3 is 4x and angle 4 is 20, what do you know about 3 and 4? 3 and 4 are congruent. They're the same. So what is my equation going to be? 4x equals what? 20. They're the same. Just put an equal sign between them. How do you solve that? How do you get x by itself? Divide by 4, and what's my answer? X equals 5. How do I find CAR? How do I find this big angle A right here? Well, you know this is 20. What's this? 20. What's this? 20. Right 20. Right 20. So what's the whole thing? 40 degrees is my answer. For a rhombus, if you know one of the angles, you know them all. What questions do I have? Tomorrow, well, hold on, let me pause.